시청자 여러분 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 자, 오늘은 또
Hey everybody, welcome to day two of the Gnuda versus or the Gnuda team battles. Today it is going to be, I guess it's Genuda. Genuda. Yep, that's correct. Genuda team battles, and today we're going to be having Team Bisu versus Team Last. So I think this is going to be a pretty dang good matchup today. Team Bisu consists of Bisu, Jaedong, Mind, Gameo, all pretty great players, honestly, and Team Last Larva Shuttle Mini. I think the first two definitely headline that, Last and Larva. Shuttle Mini, not necessarily the greatest players. Shuttle did win ASL 1, but definitely hasn't been up there with the top players in a while. Still, I'm really looking forward to this. I think Team Bisu is a little overpowered with Bisu, Jaedong, Mind, and Gameo all on the same team. All of them pretty dang good players right now. So, looking forward to today. I think we're going to have a really good set of games. So, it looks like today in the cast... Wait, who's casting alongside Genyuda? Yeah, Kyungmin. I don't know this person. So it's very early in the morning here. Right now it is 6 a.m. So I apologize if I'm a little bit sleepy, but this seems to be the set time. 1900 KST is like the time for all major events in Korea, but still, I think it'll be good. Looking forward to watching this series. I think it's going to be really good because this was supposed to be the Africa team battles, but for whatever reason, Blizzard was not able to actually get approval to Africa in time, so they had to kind of just pass it off to the next group of people, which kind of sucks that we couldn't have an offline event here in the Africa studio. But either way, I think it's still a good event, and I think we're gonna see a lot of high quality, really fun games. Week 1 was pretty insane. I didn't get much of a chance to watch it. I only watched the last half of it. But spoiler alert, it was an all kill for Light, which is pretty amazing, honestly. Light just came out swinging really hard, and the only person on Team Shine that actually put up a fight was Shine, with a really long and arduous ZVT, but in the end, Light was able to overcome Shine's trickery and get ahead. So maybe we'll have another all kill today, considering how strong the Team Bisu is. But at the same time, when you have two power players like Larva and Last, it's going to be difficult to actually get through that. I'm looking forward to seeing Larva versus Jaedong. Looks like we're going to be heading into an intro real quick. Alright, fabulous. Looks like we're going to be jumping into our very first game. You'll have to forgive me if I don't know everybody's name off the top of my head, since they're all using their fish names, but I'll try to look them up the best I can. So the first game is going to include Bisu versus Nayeon versus Mini. Okay, so it's gonna be Bisu versus Mini in the first game. So PvP. Hey chat, thanks for showing up. It's nice to see you guys. There's not a lot of people, but the stream just started and it is pretty early for most people. I guess I'll go ahead and post this in the thread real quick, just so people know that I'm streaming in English. Okay, alrighty. Looks like we had everything worked out and the layout's good. All right, let's do. I apologize if there's any stream buffering. I'm casting this from Africa TV with my fingers crossed, so hopefully it'll be good. I think we're on high quality. Yeah, we're on high quality, so it shouldn't lag. But if it does, apologies in advance. I really hope things turn out okay. Anyhow, so we are going to be having Bisu versus Mini in the first game, and I believe it is Kim Taek-young. Okay, so the yellow is going to be Bisu, red is going to be Mini. So Mini going for a pretty standard build so far. We're not going to see any kind of crazy in-base double gateway plays. Sometimes people try to do that. Looks like this game is on Fighting Spirit as well. Important thing to know. Or, oh, that's right. They have like a really weird map pool for this. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of these newer maps, like, or some of these older maps maybe. The Monte Cristo and Neo Aztec and Crossing Field. So lots of cool maps coming into this tournament. But this one is going to be on Fighting Spirit. So far, both players just going for a pretty standard gas opening. Bisu is going for that first Zealot out just to block his ramp. But Mini goes for a slightly faster cybernetic score. He's still going to get the Zealot out. But the advantage of going for that faster cybernetic score is he is going to be able to get out his Dragoons in his Dragoon range a little bit earlier if he wants to. So we'll have to see if he decides to go for a fast tech play or if he's going to put on any sort of pressure. Bisu with the later cybernetic score is going to be going for the double Zealot play, which is pretty nice. It allows you to put on some really nice mid-game pressure because the double Zealots can get on top of the Dragoons and kind of push them away in the mid-range Dragoon fights. But it looks like Mini is going to be putting down that robotics facility. He's going to be going straight into the Ro8. Most likely we're probably going to see the I think pretty much all the time in PvP you always go for the observatory first, but we'll have to see if he goes into really fast Reavers, if he's going to do some kind of drops, or if he's going to go for an expansion. But Bisu's heading into the same sort of build. So far, both players more or less mirroring each other. The only difference is that Bisu is going to be having an extra Zealot. I hope they don't have these backwards. Oh god, do they? No, they don't. Okay, I'm not crazy. Ignore me. Sometimes I wonder things out loud. So I believe that is the observatory coming down. So both players just playing pretty safe, pretty standard so far. And now we get to the point in PvP where both players play chicken and decide who's going to expand first. There's an old joke in this matchup that the first player to expand in PvP dies. So just because the moment that you expand, you aren't making those extra Dragoons because you don't have the money. And that Dragoon advantage can add up really, really quickly. It's really easy to just break your opponent before they can get their expansion up. So we'll have to see if Bisu, definitely known for his macro play, he might try to cut some corners, go for the Reaver drops while expanding. Definitely that is an option for him, or he may decide to go more aggressive with double dropship Reaver. Sorry, double shuttle Reaver. I always call shuttles dropships, I'm sorry guys in advance, but it looks like Mini is actually going to be the one who expands first, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. There's definitely a window of opportunity now for Bisu to actually just walk over there and snipe that Nexus, and he's making a lot of Zealots. That's pretty interesting that he wouldn't set 3 Zealots, actually made a Zealot instead of a Dragoon there. But he's going to be expanding too, it looks like. It's just a little bit odd that he made so many Zealots. He may try to do some sort of Zealot shenaniganry with his first Reaver drop. We'll have to see. So first observer is coming in here now for Bisu. He's going to see that there's already Reaver out. He's going to check out what's going on in the main base. gotta be careful with that first observer, because if your opponent leaves an observer at home and they just snipe your observer, suddenly you have no information for the rest of the game. So, but well done so far. Really interesting placement of that Dragoon on the high ground there for Bisu. It's just right on that ledge above the natural. I think that's just to help deter any sort of potential attacks that come in. You can get a couple more shots with that Dragoon on the high ground, and maybe even attract a couple of shots that will be misses from low ground Dragoons. So pretty cool positioning, minor thing that you can do there to get a better defender's advantage. So cool stuff to see so far. And we're actually going to be going into a macro game. Yes, for anybody just tuning in right now, Bisu is going to be the yellow Protoss in the top right, and Mini is the red Protoss in the top left. So both players just continue to build up their units, and it looks like this observer in the middle map is going to get sniped. A little bit unfortunate with that positioning, but at least he's going to scout this attack incoming. So Bisu knows what's going to be coming his way. He's going to go ahead and position his units accordingly so that he's prepared to deal with it. But Mini doing a smart thing, just feigning the pressure, walking back. He doesn't really need to attack. He can actually now just cut corners because his opponent has no information on him. He can cut corners, build more probes. Meanwhile, his opponent had to cut probes for a little bit while he had to build an extra couple gateway units to deal with any sort of attacks that comes his way. Both players, looks like they're going to be heading up to that double shuttle Reaver play, which means we're going to see some fancy footwork with the shuttles. Bisu, well known for his shuttle Reaver play, and he'll just be trying to micro his way out of this. But the first big attack comes right now. I love this pylon out in the front. The pylon out in the front in this matchup is designed to attract some fire. It screws up the AI so that if you just move through here, it becomes very difficult to actually get through. But Bisu has almost no units. He just had those couple of zealots, but with good Reaver micro and just good positioning, he's managed to push this back for now. And Mini's going to try to keep up the pressure, but eventually this is going to get pretty brutal. Oh, wow. 2 of those shots just hit that Reaver, and he's actually going to do quite a bit of damage to that Reaver right there. But his Dragoons grouping up really badly, and a lot of them are going to go down. Mini can still break this, but it's pretty damn close right now. Really good micro there from Bisu. He's got to micro really, really hard with the shuttle. This is all he's got at this point. The shuttle goes down. Oh my gosh. And I think Mini actually has broken this natural. He's going to be able to kill off a lot of these probes and push Bisu back up into his main. Actually, Bisu doesn't have anything even up on the top of the ramp. There's a very good chance he could actually just die now that Mini's on top of his production. He's going to try a probe surround on the ramp, but doesn't really work all that well against Reavers, and they just blow up all those probes. And at this point, there's the GG. Wow, Bisu dying pretty early to Mini. That wasn't even a cheese. Mini just literally walked up and killed him. Oh my gosh, that was... To be honest, it looked like Bisu was cutting way too many corners there. Bisu really shouldn't have lost that game, but it was that was pretty ugly, not gonna lie. Oh well. Mini taking the early lead in this series for Team Last. And that was actually... That surprises me a lot, because I really expected... on Team Last, Mini is definitely one of the weaker players, if not the weakest player on that team. So to go ahead and take a game off of Bisu in the first game already it's pretty nice. That means there's definitely going to be a lot more room to push forward in the next game as well. They get a little bit of momentum rolling, and it just allows someone like Laster Larva to clean up later on in the team battle. So good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, it seemed like Bisu was just cutting units earlier. He didn't have his as many Reavers. He got his he did have a slightly later robotics facility, but he only had 3 Reavers, and he had almost no Dragoons in his army. I think he only had like 3 or 4, so maybe he's rushing scouts. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. So, looking forward to the next game, which is going to be pretty interesting. I hope we get to see one of the non-standard maps, maybe get to see Salamander or Uzi Sara, which is going to be exciting. By the way, fun story, if you guys don't know about Uzi Sara, that is one of the maps in the map pool, and it was made by Jungle Terrain. It's one of the few foreigner maps that has actually made it into a Korean tournament. As far as I know, the last one was in 2003, I believe. That's what somebody said in the thread on TeamLiquid.net. Trying to find it. See if we can get that totally correct. I don't know. I can't find it. Either way, so that's really exciting to have a foreigner map in a Korean tournament. So I hope we get to see a little bit more airtime of that because it's a pretty cool map, I think. Uzi Sara. It did come to Jungle Terrain in a dream. Let's see where that interesting post was. Let's see. He says. Oh no, it was Ed and Eddie. You guys, that's right. It was Ed and Eddie had a sister named Sarah, and she was kind of crazy. And he had a dream that Sarah had an Uzi, and so for some reason the words Uzi and Sarah kind of stuck together, and it kind of, on top of that, it kind of sounds like the Marsara and Chausara planets that are in the campaign. So pretty interesting stuff coming out there. I definitely always like hearing backstories on maps and their backgrounds, how the creator came up with the ideas, how they came up with the names, etc. There's definitely some interesting names out there. I'm trying to think of what my favorite name is. I come from like StarCraft 2 background, so a lot of my map knowledge is from there. I don't know my StarCraft 1 maps quite as well. All I know is the weirdest map I've ever seen is definitely Neo Arkanoid. Neo Arkanoid is like probably the strangest map to ever exist. That and maybe Troy. Troy's so horrible, but I guess it's decent at the same time. Troy is such a weird map that I think everybody kind of wants to forget and also wants to remember at the same time. Next map is Monte Cristo. Looking for it. Looking forward to that. That's going to be pretty good. Okay, thank you, XCam. I don't... Where are you getting this information, by the way? Or are you just reading stuff that they're saying? Because I don't know Korean all that well. I can phonetically read it, but don't really know it all that well. Looks like they're going through a couple of these maps right now. I'm assuming this is going to be the next map, which is Monte Cristo. Again, apologies if I don't know any of the older maps. I'll find out for sure, but you guys can definitely help me out just by being my eyes and ears, letting me know through chat, and I'll be a little bit more sure. So obviously they're probably talking about this, probably the abusable area with these minerals being out kind of in the open. There's definitely a lot of air room to abuse that, and you can definitely do some drops into the main mineral line and the main, or sorry, the natural mineral line and the main. It looks like the main is pretty damn big on this map, so there's plenty of drop space. It's difficult to actually defend from all of the spaces that you need to. In a lot of ways, this kind of reminds me of a flipped match point, but it looks like we're going to be getting into the game right now. All right, jumping into game 2. This is going to be Mini versus MGW. Sorry guys, I'm like YOLO swagging this versus Gameo. So we're gonna have Mini versus Gameo ZVP in the bottom right hand corner. In the yellow, it is gonna be Gameo, the old AJ himself. And in the top left, in the red, it is going to be Mini, up 1-0 in this series for his team. So looking forward to seeing this. Gameo is a bit of the older generation of the Koreans, not necessarily the best player on this team, but he's still a pretty solid player overall. He went decently deep in the ASL 3, and he's pretty good at just having a very good upfront style. He doesn't do any sort of gimmicks. He just is pretty good at just macroing and getting the stuff that he needs on time. So we'll have to see how he does against Mini, who is traditionally, I think, known as a bit of a cheesier player. I think, well, yeah, if we talk about Gameo in the AJ versus Fat League, Gameo is definitely one of the better players in the AJ team. So I think it'll still be really good. Mini is, I mean, you say that the Gameo is infinitely better than Mini or whatever, but at the same time, you have to remember Mini just took a game off of Bisu, so anything can happen in this game. You don't really know what is going to happen. But like I said, this game, or this map, Monte Cristo, definitely, we talked about that a little bit before, that there is that open natural and a big drop area in the main. It makes it really easy for Mutalist play to work here. By that same token, drop play can also be very difficult to deal with from the Protoss player at the same time. But we do have, I believe that was actually Nexus first coming out from Mini. So pretty confident there's already sort of an economic cheese coming out so far. It's pretty nice to go for that sort of play early on, but he is going to be up against a 10 pool. He should have a cannon up by the time that any Zerglings come by, especially since he went, since Gameo went for that hatch first. So at this point, Protoss is pretty far ahead, especially, oh wow, this is pretty interesting. So Gameo is actually going to be going for a 2-hatch play. He may decide to go for Zergling speed into 4-hatch. This is sort of the more modern ZVP build that Solkey popularized during ASL 3, where you just get fast Zergling speed and then you pull everybody out of geysers until you get 4 hatcheries, and then you put stuff back on and continue macroing out. So let's see if he does that or if he actually goes for a 2-base play. Like I said, since this natural is so open, it's definitely possible to go for Mutalist and harass this natural mineral line and harass into the main. And it's a lot of area to cover. It's very difficult to actually deal with that all at once. And especially because you have to put this cannon so far forward to defend on this map, it's also a lot harder to defend the back of that mineral line against Scourge or Mutalist with just Corsairs. So we'll have to see how he does that. Here comes the 3rd hatch for Gameo. Looks like he might actually be going for that fast Zergling speed. We'll have to see when we get the next view at his base. Meanwhile, it looks like Mini is just macroing up as standard. You usually typically see this sort of build coming out in most PVZs. He's going to be getting that Stargate and getting the Corsairs out soon. The only other option that you really have as a Protoss player in this day and age, I think, is going for like a really fast Zealot speed attack if your opponent doesn't expect it and gets lazy on the scouting. But it looks like Gameo's actually been doing his due diligence with that Overlord, just scouting the main, seeing what's up, just poking around the map with Zergling. So we're unlikely going to see anything super tricky coming out from Mini. There's a Stargate. Nothing surprising about that at all. So yeah, it looks like he continued to leave stuff in gas, and we are going to be going for a fast 2-base play, or at least it is going to have that third, but it is more macro hatch than scary time craziness going on. So I'll have to see. There's the Spire coming down as we predicted. Like I said, the natural is very open, very difficult to defend versus those Mutalisks, so not surprised to see the Spire coming out this early. And the real question is he going to be able to snipe off an early Corsair? If Gameo can snipe off an early Corsair, it will definitely turn the tides in his favor and make it a lot easier to micro his Mutalisks around that area. Alternatively, he could just be going for the really fast. This is such a weird build because he still is going for that 5 hatch, but he got his gas so early, so pretty interesting build from Gameo. I'll have to study this a little bit more, but that looked like a bit of a faster gas than we normally see. Maybe he was just late bringing that drone out to the third. Anyhow, so pretty standard stuff coming out from Zerg. He may end up just transitioning into the Hydralisk after the first couple of Scourge. We'll have to see what Gameo decides on doing, but only one Corsair coming out from Mini. He's just going to use this Corsair to scout, and oh, he's not paying attention. He already took one hit. Sorry, there's 2 Corsairs. He took one hit on that one that's going towards the top right, and Gameo's probably going to try to find a nice flank and pick that off while still scouting at the same time. And he sees the first couple of Zealots moving out. There goes one of the Corsairs down. This is actually a pretty ideal spot to go for the Mutalisks. When you know your opponent only has 2 of those Corsairs and you've already sniped one, you can definitely go for those Corsairs or the Mutalisk play and start picking off your opponent's stuff. But this is only 5 Zealots, so it's not going to do that much. 6 Zealots. It's decent, but it's definitely not going to be game breaking at all. Gameo should defend here pretty easily as long as he doesn't lose any drones, which he didn't. And he's still going to be flooding in a couple Lings here to defend. Honestly, he shouldn't have much of a problem defending, especially now that the Hydralisks are out. It's not that difficult to defend, even versus this number of Zealots. And lots of gateways coming in. This implies to me that there's going to be a lot of pressure coming out from Mini. He's not going to be trying to take that early third base. He's going to be trying to put on a little bit of pressure beforehand. Or, alternatively, he can just be building up for a big timing attack once he gets Storm and a lot of Dragoons via best style. So, looking forward to seeing what comes out ahead. Gameo is actually so confident that he's held this that he's actually making drones right now. He's not even worried about being attacked. So a little bit unorthodox, a little bit strange there. But this Sunken Colony is going to go down, and that's going to be really obnoxious. The Sunken Colony in the back is also going to go down. Lots of Zealots being sacrificed here, but there's no units for Gameo. He just looks like he just forgot to build units. Just went a little bit crazy on the drones there, which may have been a mistake. But he's going to be going for the Mutalisks now, and there aren't really any Corsairs out on the map, so this is not bad, but it's going to take these Mutalisks a long time to actually clean this up. And the first Archon is out, and that's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. He's going to have to spread out his Mutalisks really nicely if he wants to deal with this. And meanwhile, really good Sim City over there in Gameo's natural. It's annoying to clean all this up, and Gameo really took more economic damage there than he really should have. If he had just been on top of his scouting and making units, he would be in a lot better position than he is right now. But anyhow, he's going to have to build non-stop units if he wants to deal with this. This is actually another dangerous position where Mini could just outright win like he did versus Bisu. And all it takes is Gameo just screwing up and not making units. And one Archon just being left out in the middle of the map. There's one Archon in this, and the Mutalisks are too afraid to actually get close to it. So it's a little bit difficult. You really need to have much better micro if you want to deal with the Zealot Archon army with only Mutalisks and Lings. But a couple of Hydras coming out now. They're going to be able to eventually push this back. And the mining at Gameo's third has been pretty crippled. Now that I think about it, that third gas is really, really early. Usually you get that third gas in conjunction with a fourth base. So Gameo just being a little bit greedy there. and taking far more economic damage than he really should have. He's going to try to do his best to micro with these Mutalists, but they've already taken quite a few hits from those Archons, so they're going to be pretty weak. They're not going to be at full power. And there's just not a lot of Zerg right now. Lots of Hydras coming in right now, which is pretty nice. They should be able to hold off any kind of future attacks, but it's a little bit unfortunate that Gameo is as far behind right now as he is. He really should be a lot further ahead. We'll see if Mini continues to keep up this pressure, or if he's just... Oh, never mind, he's taking a third now in about the 8 o'clock position right now. So, looks like he's going to be going into that center attack. I think that's +2, so +2 is about to finish, and that's a pretty big deal. +2 is another really big upgrade for the Protoss player. They're going to be able to make Zealots basically invincible against Lings until Lings get the 2/2 plus Adrenal. Gameo's continuing to make a lot of Hydralists. I wonder if he's going to be going for a Hydra bust of any kind, or if those are just safety Hydras. We'll have to see what he decides to go into from here. He should have a Hive on the way at this point. He did take a lot of economic damage, but you really need the Hive and a 4th base up pretty soon. Or at the very least, you need to go heavy into Lurkers and just go really heavy into a Lurker Hydra mid-game. But so far, we're seeing neither of those things right now from Gameo. It looks like he's just trying to be clever with his positioning and maybe pick off a base here and there, which would be nice, but it's he needs to be careful with how he positions these Hydras and not get a little too greedy. He's going to be going for a power play over here on the top side, but the threat of the Corsair backstab pulls his Hydralisk back. He's not going to be able to actually do anything until he kills off those Corsairs. The nice thing is, if he does kill off the Corsairs, he definitely has the ability to switch into Mutas. There are a couple of Archons and some Storms out, which is a little bit brutal, but if you can actually kill off all those Corsairs, it makes it so much easier to go into the Muta switch. But we'll have to see what Gameo decides to do at this point. We see a couple more hatcheries being added on. Looks like he's probably going to be going into that very Ling-heavy late game, but there's no Hive on the way. This is actually pretty bad, I think, right now. Lurker is only just coming out right now. He really needs a lot more Hydras if he's going to go try for the Hydra Lurker style. But at this point, the Protoss army is big enough that I don't think Hydra Lurker is going to actually work. Hydra Lurker is one of those really good mid-game armies if you're ahead, but once your opponent has a lot of storms and has a lot of units, then it becomes significantly harder. But at the same time, I don't think there's a single observer on the map so far, so there's definitely the possibility for a certain timing attack before the observers get out, but they should be out pretty soon, and I don't think that Mini will actually have any problems holding an attack coming out from the Zerg player in the near future. Really nice job so far by Mini just to fan out his units really nicely. He has the High Templar in the correct positions, so he can do a really good job of holding off any attacks, and still no 4th base from Gameo. This is so weird to not go for that 4th base, but instead he's going to invest really heavily in these Mutalisks and kind of go for a Mutalist cheese into the main. I'm not sure about this. I feel like this is kind of a misguided decision right now. But maybe he thinks he's further ahead than he is. I'm not sure. Maybe this is a Hail Mary. I'm not. This is honestly so weird right now. But looks like Mini's just going to be moving across the map. He's got enough Corsairs to deal with the Mutalisks unless he completely AFKs and forgets about them. And as long as he has a couple of observers, which surprisingly he doesn't, yeah, you can tell Ganyuda's also pretty confused as well. There should be some observers right now. Once the observers come out, there's nothing stopping Mini from just walking across the map and killing stuff. But cute little play here with the Hydralisk and the Mutalist to just kind of run around the Protoss army and pick off some stuff here and there. But it's not any significant damage. And Gameo's falling further and further behind in the economics. This 4th base is so late. It's actually insane how late the 4th base is, and I still don't know what the status on his layers. He does have overlord speed. Maybe he has drops coming in. It'd be pretty interesting to go in for some drops in the main, especially since he has these Mutalisks. It makes it a lot easier to clear the way for those drops. But this has overall been kind of a flubbed game from Gameo in my opinion. And as soon as Mini gets some observers, he can definitely push across the map and just win the game, because this is a really scary Protoss army. And without Hive Tech, it's very difficult to actually deal with it. But it looks like he's going to be going for it. There's some observers in this army. This is a very zealot-heavy army, so it's a little bit gross to just move in here. But doing a really good job of pulling back the first couple of zealots. He's not just going to YOLO swag in there. And there's so much Protoss here that even if the first wave managed to be cleaned up, like he can just continue to push right now. And the Mutalisks trying to come in and snipe off the High Templar, and he's actually gonna get quite a few, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. The real question is what's the zealot count out? If the zealots all get killed, you can definitely clean this up with 2-2 Adrenal Gland Lings, but there's nothing else, and even pulling the drones out right now, there's nothing left for Gameo. Just again, not being proactive with his tech, not being proactive with making units, and dying when he really shouldn't have. A lot more lurkers come in, and they're going to be able to push this back for now, but against this many Dragoons, they're eventually just going to be able to pick off these lurkers. It's really not that big of a deal. The only scary thing is a whole bunch of Lings coming in, but with good micro, Mini should be able to even deal with Lings. There's a little bit more reinforcements coming out from Zerg player, but this army is still so... Wow, that is so many lurkers. So... yeah. Looks like Gameo was banking about 2,000 gas there. That was pretty brutal. But I don't think these lurkers are going to be done in time. Mini's just going to be able to walk in and kill off all this. He at least gets the 4th base. At this point, Mini doesn't even need to do damage or try to go for the kill here. Mini can actually just walk away from this and take a 4th base and be way ahead. But looks like there's going to be a small little counterattack coming through, but they didn't really do anything. And this is the point where I think Mini actually overstayed. He really honestly should have just sniped that 4th base and walked away. But these Lings could get on top of the Dragoons. They're not going to quite, so good job right there. And the next couple storms are coming in right now. They're going to be able to kill off a lot of units right there. The Lings are really scary against these Dragoons, but eventually the Dragoons should be able to overpower it. He's misplaced his... looks like he's misplaced his observers a little bit, but it honestly doesn't matter. There's just too much Protoss here, and the 3rd base has been overrun. There's the GG. Mini takes a 2-0 in the series. Is it going to be a Mini all kill? Is this going to be a Mini all kill? Is that what's happening right now? Is Mini our new god? No. To be honest, that was just... Both games were... honestly, cases of players just screwing up. Both Bisu and Gameo not making units when they really should have, and misreading Mini's early aggression. Like I said earlier, you kind of expect to see that sort of aggression coming out from Mini. Mini's known as a quote-unquote cheesy player, so you expect to see some early aggression and things like that. As long as you're just playing safe in the early game and getting to that late game macro, you should be able to deal with Mini. But both of these players just having problems, not quite getting things together. So a bit unfortunate there. But we are going to have Jaedong and Mind as our last 2 players for Team Bisu. I think Jaedong would be a pretty good idea to send out right now. Jaedong is definitely one of the better ZVP players. As stated in the chat, Mind's TVP is not all that great. Mind tends to go for kind of a turtley style. He is pretty good at doing certain timing attacks, which is pretty nice, but I think you have a much better chance sending in Jaedong at this point. Okay, well, I apologize if I'm calling Mini cheesy. I don't know his Brood War style. He was known as a cheesy player in StarCraft 2.
자, 김태경 선수.
So apologies all around.
김태경의
You guys check and educate me on the history of Brood War.
이재동이지만
그렇죠. 네임밸류 보면 아직
그렇죠.
무너진 거 아니거든요.
평소에 맨날 하는 맵이 아닙니다. 그러니까 다음 맵은
But yeah, so pretty exciting to see team last up 2-0 already. I didn't expect to see Mini come out and play this well, but so far he hasn't really been screwing up too much. He did lose that Archon early on where he just kind of left it in the middle of the map, which was pretty funny, but overall he's been playing pretty well and just hitting these timing attacks on the top of the head. Really smart follow-ups to all of his attacks whenever he gets any damage done. So really nicely played by Mini so far. We'll have to see if somebody can actually deal with him or if we're just gonna have another all kill. I would like to see Last and Larva play. That's really the two players that I came to watch, but I mean, if Mini gets an all kill, I guess I'm alright with that as well.
이재동 선수 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 맵은 아즈텍이고요. 자, 변현재 선수 굉장히 잘하고 있기 때문에 진짜 재밌는 경기 나올 것 같아요. 자, 이재동 선수 먼저 세팅을 잠시만.
So what's gonna be our map for the next game? Does anyone know? Is it in the thread?
어떤 스타일이죠?
We can go ahead and start talking about that. I hope we get something interesting.
끝까지 공격합니다. 근데 알아도
알아도 막기 힘들고.
Raffle 8 Templars versus Lair Attack. That basically sums up that entire game. Raffle 8 Templars versus Lair Attack. Yeah, indeed.
이재동 선수까지 잡으면 진짜 난리 나거든요.
So
이재동 선수 화면이 준비되는 대로 경기를
I really hope we get to see Uzi Sara. I don't know if it was played in week 1. I hope it was, but I didn't. Like I said, I didn't get to watch all the games, and I was kind of AFK watching them anyway. So. Oh, okay. I see where it is. Sorry, I just found all of the maps. Should be pretty good. Is it the same way throughout, or is it just the first match? On the first page of the TeamLiquid.net thing. Oh no, okay, I found it. Thank you, KHJ. You are a god. So our third map is gonna be Neo Aztec. Got it. Figured it out. I can navigate the interwebs. I'm special.
아니 지금 많은 분들이 이재동 선수의 경기를 기다리고 계실 텐데 이재동
So is this just I think it's just a best of 7, right? So looking forward to that. I'm sad that we're not going to see Uzi Sara until the 7th set. Makes me sad.
그게 또 이제
I'd love to see that map.
잘 나가는 선수들의 특징 아니겠습니까? 자, 과연 이 위기를 이재동 선수가 극복할 수 있을 것인지. 자, 경기 준비됐고요.
So let me go ahead and look up Aztec so I don't look like a retard when I'm talking about it, because there's a very good chance that that will happen.
3경기 변현재 대 이재동 대 변현재 경기 시작하도록.
I feel like I've seen Aztec played a couple times, but it looks like we're going to be going into the third set now. Alright, game 3. It is going to be Jaedong coming out versus Mini. Super excited for this. Alright, so we're going to be doing game 3 on Aztec. Pretty interesting map because it's one of the very few that actually has a low ground main. Makes it a lot harder to actually break out of your base if you get contained early on. You don't have that high ground advantage to help you break out. So we'll have to see what Jaedong's plans are coming into this game. I feel like a good lurker contain is really nice here. You can also do some nice drop play. No reason to do anything ultra fancy, just lurkers, Hydra Bus, all very strong on this map. Just straight up front ZVP play. So first probe is going out, probably going to be building a pylon at this natural, going for that Forge Fest expand. We're probably not going to see the Nexus first coming out from Mini here. He's not going to be super greedy this game, I don't think.
만만치는 아니고요. 일단 이재동의 선수의 빌드를 한번 보도록 하겠습니다.
네.
무난하게 오버풀 출발.
그쵸. 근데
예측해
서치
보고요.
So,
오버로드 상대 프로
unlucky scout coming out for
마주치나요?
Mini to start things off. He's gonna scout his opponent last. Not as huge of a deal on a 3-player map compared to a 3-player map, but we'll have to see if Jaedong's doing anything funky. It doesn't look like he is. Looks like it's actually gonna be well, it is a little bit funky because usually you see overpool in this matchup. It's kind of become the standard, but Jaedong's actually gonna decide to go for that 12 hatch instead. He's not too worried about any sort of cannon rushes or anything like that, and I don't think there's any way you can reliably cannon rush on this map either. I could be wrong on that note, but I think it's difficult to cannon rush in this position on this map. So Jaedong is just going to play really economically to start off. Really like seeing this, and it's a nice way to get back his opponent. He's not going to be playing scared, which is, it's nice to see Jaedong confident.
야, 프로보 좋아요. 무빙이 좋습니다.
So this pro harassment coming in is really annoying. The best thing you can do is honestly just pull the drones away. It's not really all that good to stop an attack unless you have an oversaturated mineral patch there. But either way, it's just annoying to deal with this probe over time. And eventually the Lings will get out and clean it up. No gas down so far, so we're probably going to see a triple hatch come out from Jaedong. As I say that, he puts down a gas. FML. Okay, never mind. There's the third hatch. So seems like Zergs are getting their gases just a little bit earlier than normal. Typically you would see the third hatch going down before the gases, but it seems like at least maybe the third is going down a little bit later than normal, or the gas is going up a little bit earlier. Not exactly sure, but not super important. Anyways, we're gonna see the gases. Sorry, the drone's going on gas. Sorry, it's early here, guys. I'm really tired, so I apologize if I don't make sense sometimes. So drone's going on gas here. We're probably gonna see Lair first. That's the sort of Jaedong type style, is to go for the Lair, go for the macro play. It'd be very unusual to see Jaedong go for Zergling speed early on or anything like that. Is he gonna lose a drone? Ooh, that was close. I'm not sure if that's just like a bait, but he needs to be really careful with that drone now, because he can definitely lose it. And getting out the front, he's gonna lose a link to that cannon, which is a little bit unfortunate. And this is so annoying that he's actually just let this probe in the base, but the probe actually dies 2 drones, and that's a pretty big mistake coming out from Mini. He's not gonna have any scouting information. Honestly, right now, Jaedong could just drop a Hydra Den and actually just push down his opponent, but he's already started the Lair, so it looks like he is going to be going all the way into Lair tech and everything like that. He's not going to try to play anything risky right now, but that's one of those things where if you kill off the probe fairly early on like that, even if it's something dumb like that, you can definitely pivot to a 3-hatch Hydra build and completely destroy your opponent. But it is going to force Mini to probably make an extra cannon here coming up pretty soon, just because if you don't have that scout on the map, you really have to have that extra cannon so you don't just die. As I say that, I think there might be a scout in Jaedong's natural, but I could be wrong. It's hard to see on this mini map. Either way, if Protoss can't actually get any reliable scouting information, they have to rely on getting a safety cannon, which is really annoying and very cumbersome to your economy. So Jaedong's droning up. He's going to be going for that Lair. Nothing surprising about that, or sorry, the Spire. Nothing surprising about that. Just to get a couple of scouting Scourge out to gain map control while he builds up his Hydra count. I'd be surprised for Jaedong to go for the Ehan timing with Scourge and Mutalisk, but if anybody can do it, it's Jaedong. Jaedong is the Ehan timer, right? So we'll have to see what the plan is. Double Stargate for Mini, that's really interesting to see. So going really heavy on the Corsairs. He's probably going to be pulling up his Corsairs in his base for a little while. And just going for a big attack later on to just snipe as many Overlords as possible. But if Jaedong's smart and scouts everything out, then he shouldn't have much of a problem. It's definitely unlikely that Jaedong is going to be going into any meterless play, which is, when you think about it, it's a smart play from Mini. You know, you're playing against one of the best meterless players in the world with Jaedong, so it makes sense to say, you know what, I'll just go for the double Stargate, and I'll just shut down any chance of meterless play coming out. I'll deal with the chance that I might actually just die to Hydra Bus, but it's fine because I'll have a lot of Corsairs to put pressure on my opponent and prevent any sort of chance of meterless. So a lot of links coming out from Jaedong right now. He's going to try to just clean up this force of Zealots with pure Ling, and really good around so far. He didn't quite trap them, but really, really good. Why are they saying Ehon time? There's no Ehon timing coming out. It's not going to happen. So all the Zealots go down to the Lings. Really nicely played. Just enough Lings to actually kill all that off. So really well played by Jaedong. He's going to be able to scout out his opponent at the same time. If he scouts this second Stargate, he's going to be in really good shape because he's going to know exactly what's going on. I don't know if he actually scouted both of them. So we'll have to see. That looked a little bit questionable the way that worked, but Corsairs are coming in now. They're going to be trying to snipe off the first couple of Overlords. These Lings aren't going to do anything. At this point in the game, you really want to spread these Lings out and just get map coverage so you can know where the Corsairs are going to be. And a couple of Overlords going down early on. This isn't a huge deal for Jaedong, though, because, like I said earlier, when you invest really heavily into the Corsairs, you don't have much of a ground army. So it's not like Mini's going to be able to follow up and instantly kill Jaedong. Unfortunately, not able to snipe any of those Corsairs with those Scourge. But it's not like the Protoss is going to have a big army to come kill your third immediately after sniping all those Overlords. That's just, it's just icing on the cake. The Corsairs have to snipe a certain amount of Overlords to actually pay off for this double Stargate play. And I think so far they've done pretty well. I think it was like 4 or 5 Overlords going down. So this is well done, and I think it's almost paid for. But Jaedong is going to be moving out with a lot of stuff right now, and I don't see Storm out so far. Storm is only halfway done, and I see 1 Templar. So at best, Mini's going to have 1 Storm to deal with the upcoming pressure, which, if used correctly, that can definitely kill it. But it's still going to be a pretty rough defense coming out from Mini. The first couple of Zealots are being whittled down a bit. The cannon in the front is getting a lot of shots off, but it's going to go down, and a couple of probes being pulled, and they're actually going to go down as well. Mini's probably going to be able to hold this as soon as the Storm comes up. So Storm's about to come up. He really needs this. He needs to get a really good Storm coming out. What? What? Alright, okay. That was a big fail. That was a big fail. That was a horrible Storm misclick. And Jaedong's actually just going to break this and kill his opponent. There's no units, and there's all the Hydras in the base. No chance for Mini to actually come back. He's got a Dark Templar in this base, though. This is actually kind of nice, but he's going to have to kill off every drone in the third and the natural in order to come back in this game. The robotics facility does go down. That's a little bit unfortunate, and this Dark Templar doing a lot of damage, but I mean, it doesn't even matter because the Protoss doesn't even have a natural base right now. All these Zealots are going to be eventually going down, and there aren't any units for Mini right now. He's going to try his best to hold on, but there's so many units streaming across the map. The map is just full of yellow units just streaming across the map right now. There are a couple of Dark Templar, but if he just pulls a couple of Overlords, he should be able to deal with this pretty nicely. Trying to be cute with these Corsairs, but it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to snipe those, but wow. Lots of DTs coming out right now. And here come the Overlords. Here come the Overlords. He's going to have to snipe all of the DTs. All the DTs go down. So he's going to be able to continue pressuring this front now. And the next wave of DTs might come out and be able to prevent this, but it's unlikely. DT in the main now. He has to call off all of these drones to really survive, but it's unlikely. I don't know. Actually, Jaedong losing more and more drones. This game is actually starting to pull even though he lost his natural, but it depends on what is in the main right now to defend, and the answer is nothing. There is nothing in the main to defend. There's one Templar with one, maybe two Storms and a couple of Zealots, but he'd be hard-pressed to actually defend, and the probes are coming out. That's not going to work. There's the GG. Jaedong pulling it back for Team last. No, sorry, Team Bisu. My bad. Team Bisu. Very nice job. And Minnie looks like he's pretty upset after that loss. Oh gosh. And that's exactly what I was talking about. If you go for that double star gate, you really have to make it pay off and kill off more overlords. I guess now we know 4 or 5 overlords is not enough. You really need to be getting like 6, 7 plus there in order to actually deal with the Zerg macro machine. And also, it might just have to do with the fact that early on, Jaedong was able to easily clean up those Zealots with the Lings. So very nicely played overall. I'm glad somebody clipped that epic fail storm. That was actually that was one of the worst. That's like almost as bad as best storming as Nexus in the ASL. That was pretty ugly. Apparently people want me to put this on oh, you know what? I need to do one thing.
팀 김성현의 주장 김성현입니다. 이재동 대 김성현. 맵은 셀러맨더고요. 경기 1분 뒤에 가도록 하겠습니다.
I have to put my stream up on teamloco.net. I actually forgot to do that, so my bad. It's still not up there. I told it to do its thing.
그렇죠. 왜냐면 남은 카드가 토스. 그렇죠.
그리고 또 한재가 그나마 잘하고 있는데 저저전이 좀 약하다는 평이 있거든요.
그렇죠.
So hopefully that works out. Anyways, we're having technical difficulties over here. This is one of those things where I wasn't totally prepared. I literally woke up at 5:30 a.m. and literally stumbled to my computer and spent like 15 minutes trying to find the stream, and then like 15 minutes getting ready for this cast. So it hasn't been that great, but we're good. Next map is going to be Salamander. I'm looking forward to that. I love Salamander. This is such a cool map, in my opinion. And it actually, I guess this is one of the new maps. I've seen this on stream quite a bit in the last couple weeks as everybody's preparing for this event. And it's actually a really neat map. Really cool tile set and really cool stuff. So looking forward to seeing that.
경기 굉장히 재밌게 되고 있습니다, 지금.
Just literally no famous Prodosses in history of EAPM above 200 except for Bisu. I think that's true. Most Protoss players are slow as hell. No offense to Protoss players, but they're all pretty slow. Yeah, TT1 has a pretty good point. It's the same way in StarCraft 2 as well. That Zerg players typically have really high APMs, and it's literally just because you're making a lot of units. It's not like you actually are. I mean, you technically are doing more because you're clicking on things and making units, but the amount of time that it takes you to click things in the races is pretty much the same. But you can only make so many Zealots at one time. If you have like 20 gateways, that's like complete overkill. That's like mega ultra late game. But the idea of making 20 lings at a time or 20 sets of lings is not that crazy.
좀 비슷한데 근데 미네랄 멀티가 좀 추가됐고
이 부분에 미네랄 멀티 말씀하시는 거죠.
그리고 종종 저기 언덕에 있는
I think if you play Sarah Reaver, that's a little bit difficult, but I don't think the EAPM actually drives up that much. It's probably the most EAPM intensive PvZ strat though. all things considered, just because you have to do so much micro with your units, but you're not making all that much from your gateway, so you're still losing EAPM there. So going into the 4th game right now on Salamander, looking forward to this. Jadon going to be up against. Looks like it is going to be Last himself coming out to face Jadon. And I'm not going to lie, I think the edge goes really heavily toward Last in this. So, bottom left-hand corner in the red, that is going to be Jadon. It's our Zerg player, our Zerg hero, who is finally bringing Team Bisu back into the game. In the top right, it is the yellow Protoss, or sorry, yellow Terran. Oh god, it's early. The yellow Terran, it's going to be Last. Last is definitely favored in this matchup. Last, one of the TVZ beasts. And right now, Jadon has been struggling in ZVT for a while. I think he's improved significantly since the ASL3 rather. And so there's still a good chance that Jadon can pull it back, but Last is just such a strong TVZ player. Aside from Flash, he's the best TVZ player in the world right now. So it's pretty unlikely, I think, that Jadon comes out on top. But you never know. Jadon, if he's having a good day, he can basically beat anyone. It all depends on how good his preparation is, and if he's on a good day, if his APM is spent correctly. So looking forward to seeing this. I love Salamander. This is such a cool map, man. I don't honestly know if it's favored for any particular race, but I love the tile set, and I think it looks cool, man. It just looks cool. So we are going to be having the hatch first. Not surprising at all. It's been a while since I've seen a not hatch first in ZVT. Like the only other one that people will go is like a 9 pool occasionally, but even then that's pretty rare, and that's usually only on like, that's usually not even as an aggressive build, but as like an anti-proxy Rax cheese build. So it's like pretty much always been hatch first. It's always going to be hatch first shower. So Last is he's going to scout Jadong second. He sees the Overlord, so he knows immediately where Jadong is going to be, and Jadong actually going for the triple hatch before pool, the 3rd hatch in the faraway position. So pretty interesting play by Jadong so far. This is very greedy, and can definitely be punished early on. It does really well against the CC first, but against last build where he went for the gasless fast expand, it's not going to be as strong, and there's definite chance that an early attack can just straight up kill it off. Jadong is probably going to have to be going for the Zergling speed before lair, or else he can actually just lose that hatch rate to like a handful, 6 or 7 Marines that just walk over there and kill that hatchery. We'll have to see what Last plans are, though. He may decide to play it a little bit safer. I think there's definitely a window of opportunity here for Last to do some pretty serious damage to his opponent, though. Especially since he scouts it out, he knows what's going on. He knows there's the late pool, and so there's probably a 3rd base somewhere on the map. So pretty ballsy from Jadong. I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out. But so is that area where the Overlord is that unpathable terrain, or is that a ramp or something? That is like a super weird feature. I've never seen that. It looks like unpathable terrain, but it looks like you can actually load something on the high ground there, unless it has unit blockers. Not sure if it does. Anyhow, we see the double Rax play coming out. This is what I expected. When you scout that your opponent is going triple hatch before pool, you go for the double Rax opening. You have a lot more Marines early on, and it definitely opens up the possibility for going for just a Marine poke early on. And if you don't have any Zerglings, then you just die. And actually, I don't even think Last has to walk to the third base. He can actually just walk to the natural if he wanted, while sending a couple of Marines, even just like 1 or 2 to the third to pick off drones. So we'll have to see what goes on. There's the lair. It looks like he did actually go for the lair before Zergling speed, which is, again, a little bit ballsy, a little bit maybe foolish. We'll have to see. So the first Marine poke is going to be coming across the map now with, I believe it was 7 or 8 Marines. But Last is kind of in the dark. He doesn't want to, he wants to make sure there isn't a Zergling run by, so he's actually just going to move his units back. He's just going to wait for his medics in order to go, which to me is a little bit confusing. I would have liked to see him poke out a little bit further, but maybe that one little poke was enough to force out enough lings early on. Either way, this is about the time that you want to be banking speedlings, so it's not really all that strong anyhow. Jedong's a little bit lucky that they got in cross positions. I think if they had been in close positions, Jedong would be in a lot of trouble right now, but because they're in these cross positions, going for an early push with those Marines, not quite as effective as it would normally be. Scan comes in, he's going to know where this base is and start moving across right now. Jedong's just going to continually try to threaten the run-bys here, and so far it's going pretty well. Even with that bunker in place, he's going to be able to pick off these Firebats. The Firebats weren't on the ramp. Normally when you do this push out, you put the 2 Firebats on the ramp and then the Lings can't get up, but so far so good from Jedong. He's going to be able to get a lot of damage done here and slow down the army, but it doesn't even matter because there's so much coming up to this third base right now, and this third base is definitely going down. You see Jedong's already evacuating the drones. He's going to see if he can try to sneak them out, but probably not. At the very least, he's going to buy some time running the drones around. Just kind of save that for a little bit longer, but this is going to be the third base going down, and that's pretty painful for Jedong. With the third base going down right now, and you know, that's a third of his production right there. He's building those 3 Mulos there, and he's going to have to cancel those because those Mulos are going to die instantly. Is he not going to cancel those? Is he actually just going to try to fly them out? What? Okay. Well, one of the Mulos dies, 2 of them get badly bruised. And even though he does have another follow-up counterattack coming into the natural there, a lot of damage done to Jedong right now. He's going to have to get a lot done with these Mulos if he wants to claw his way back into the game. And this is just not looking very good for Jedong right now. He's going to have to pick off at least this army out in the middle of that, maybe the next army as well. Luckily, this isn't a 5 racks, so there's not going to be an insane number of Marine medic out. But either way, this is pretty painful. It loses another Mutalisk there. You can't afford to be losing any Mutalisk at this point. Going to continue to micro, and Last is just on top of just paying attention to his bio and making sure they don't just die pointlessly. Really good job with the stems there and being in good positions. It's going to take forever to clean up, but eventually Jedong is going to be able to clean this up. He's got 2, 3 that are really low. 2 other Mutalisks go down. That's so painful. Oh my gosh, 2 more Mutalisks go down, and at this point, Last is just, he's playing super turtly, but it's okay because as long as he doesn't take damage from these Mutalisks, he's going to be in a great position. There's a lot of missile turrets, but basically all he needs to do is just continue pumping that Marine medic, get up these 2 starports that he's going, and just go straight into the SK Terran. It's a little weird to go into SK Terran with only 3 racks, but it looks like maybe he might be going into an earlier mech play immediately afterwards. Not fully dedicating to the bio early on, just enough to get 2 to 3 subgroups, and then he's going to be switching into the mech. This is pretty all in from Jedong. It looks like he's pulling back his... He's going back to the 2007 days where you just try to Mutalist harass your way into a win, but there's pretty much nothing he can do at this point. There's he doesn't have a third base still, and he's just relying on really good Mutalist macro to do tons of damage, but there's so many missile turrets here, so many Marines and medics. He's going to have to kill off every single SCV in this base, but there's so many missile turrets. Every time he goes in there, he takes at least 4 shots. and that's just it's pretty brutal.
저그 입장에서 테란이 자기
And the army for last is moving across the map right now, and actually I think they're gonna snipe a couple of these Zerglings over here, which is a bit unfortunate. And only a couple of these Sunkens, no lurkers out yet, still going for the hive right now, and Jeong literally is just gonna have to play the best game of his entire life if he wants to win this game, but I don't think it's gonna happen. He has to delay this Terran army for practically forever if he actually wants to survive. But even then, the first two science vessels are coming out right now, and Defiler tech hasn't even been started. So this is really, really, really bad for Jaedong. This is pretty much a loss. I haven't looked at the supply differences. Supplies might be more or less pretty even right now, but they're going to change drastically in the next couple of minutes. And flying the Mutalisk into the Marine is not what you want to do. It takes a lot of damage on those Mutalisks, loses all of those wings. It's not looking good for Jaedong. He's trying to get these Hydras up on the high ground so he can defend his bases with lurkers. But the first, I mean, he's already the first two science vessels are already out, and these Marines will actually be able to break this wall before the lurkers finish morphing. It takes Marines forever to actually kill lurker eggs, but definitely possible. And again, flying Mutalisk over Marines, losing another Mutalisk, it's brutal. At this point, I think Jaedong's tilted. He's not quite playing his best, and this is what we always see. Oh, that was really nice play so far. But he didn't get both of the vessels. If he got both the vessels, he would be 100% safe here. But losing that one lurker to the Irradiate is going to be pretty brutal. It's going to be really rough. And good Mutalisk Micro can actually hold this off. In the games that I casted yesterday, I believe it was Larva versus Flash. Larva managed to hold his ramp with just Mutalisk and one lurker for a long time. But still, it's a very difficult position for Jaedong right now. A really good job so far of just picking off a couple of units, but here come the next set of Irradiates, and he's going to try to clean this up with Lings, but the next army should be on its way pretty soon. He needs to kill off as many of these medics as possible, because once the medic count builds up, it becomes so much harder to deal with this. Third base going down for last, and Jaedong looks like he has established his third base for now. He's going to survive and be able to stay in the game. The first Defiler is out. I'm not sure if Consume is actually finished yet, but either way, it is going to deter an attack coming out pretty soon. And looks like Last did actually commit to those second couple of barracks. He is going to be going pretty heavy into the bio for the next couple of minutes, but I think we're probably going to see the mech switch come out once he gets 2 or 3 subgroups and has a really good job, really good handle on this expansion over here. A lot of Scourge coming out, and with good micro, he could save these, but all of the science vessels go down. Wow, that's actually really, really impressive. As long as he can get a couple of lurkers down there, he can actually survive. And the fourth base actually being picked off by a couple Lings. What is Jaedong doing this? Is he actually doing this? This is impressive play by Jaedong coming back from a game that he had pretty much lost. But the game's not over yet. He still has quite a lot to do, and here comes the mech switch already. And luckily for Jaedong, he's been able to slow down the progression of Terran across the map, but he still has no fourth. He's only just now establishing the area around his fourth. And oh wow. Just a whole bunch of vultures get into the space right now, and they're going to be able to snipe quite a few drones. Luckily, there are a few units in position. They're going to be able to deal with that. Looks like actually only 2 drones went down. I feel like a lot more than that could have gone down with good micro, but either way, really solid win. Like I said, Jaedong still doesn't have his fourth base. He has relatively few drones, so even though the game is kind of stabilized for right now as Last switching into this mech, Jaedong can't really do anything to stop this progression of bases across the map. And once the turn gets up to 5 or 6 bases, it's going to be impossible for Jaedong to actually do anything about it. And oh, Jaedong screwing up, not paying attention to his Lings and cutting off those vultures. Only 2 drones going down so far. Better Vulture Micro this time. They're gonna be pretty good. But what are the Lings doing? Why are there more Vultures in here? Jaedong, what's going on? Come on, Jaedong. Pay attention. Where are your lurkers? Do smart things. Come on, man.
야 이거는
Immediately runs all of his Lings into a Spider Mine. Rip. And this is huge for Last right now.
와 힘 빠지게
Just not having those drones at his base, losing even more at his 4th base over here. It's pretty brutal right now, and Last is just tearing him apart. Jaedong did a really good job of taking the pressure off of his 4th, but now that he's taken so much damage, it doesn't even matter. He has no more advantages left.
시간 20분 다 돼가거든요. 지금
He's just scrambling. Maybe he can pick off a couple of science vessels down here, and he actually loses the 4th base. There's the GG. He knows it's lost now that he's lost that 4th. So a little bit unfortunate. He went for that triple hatch. It got scouted early on and just annihilated. So really unfortunate for Jaedong. I think he played a little bit too macro aggressively there, a little bit too greedy. If he'd just gone for a couple more early Lings on maybe gotten like 2, even 3 subgroups of Lings to stop that first push from coming across the map, he'd be in a lot better spot. But unfortunately, he played a little bit greedier, tried to go for the standard Ling timing, but against Last, you have to know if Last has full information, he's going to be able to punish that. It's not gonna be possible. But the score is now 3-1 in favor of Team Last. Team Last doing pretty good, and Team Bisu's only hope is gonna be mined. I'm gonna take a quick water break because my voice is super dead. But I'll be right back, you guys. Enjoy the commercial of these 2 people talking in Korean.
우승자 출신이거든요.
아 우승자죠.
그것도 최연소 우승자 아닌가요? 박성규 선수가?
최연소는 이영호죠.
아 그렇죠.
예. 아니 좀 죄송한데 그 관련된 그 기록은 우리 영호가 다 가지고 있거든요.
아 우리 용호요?
예?
아
제 스승님이니까. 자 일단은 김성현 선수가 아까도 진짜 그 말이 기억에 남는 게 잘하는 팀은 상대방이 잘하는 선수가 나왔을 때 1승 이상 못하게 하는 팀이었으니까 이제도 충분히 이름값으로 여골킬 뭐 3킬.
와 근데 박성균 제가 볼 때 그거거든요. 거의 미션 수준이거든요. 거의 종족별 거의 강한 선수 다 남아있거든요.
그렇죠.
저그의 황제
이몽규.
그 다음에 예전에 제왕이라는 소리를 들었거든요. 김윤준
그렇죠.
선수가.
별풍선 풍력만 받으면 재앙으로 변했죠.
김윤준 포스의 김윤준.
그렇죠.
대각 캐리어도 유명하고 그 다음에 테란의 알파고.
그리고 김성현 선수가 또 주특기 태태신 아닙니까?
이거 막말로 이거 만약에 성균이가 3킬 한다?
네.
저도 지금 핸드포크에서 별풍 쏘러 갈게요.
진짜입니까?
아 당연하죠.
몇 개 쏘실 겁니까?
네?
몇 개 쏘실 겁니까?
100개요.
100개.
아 저는 힘들기 때문에.
아 알겠습니다. 일단은 박성균.
네.
아 왜 이렇게 박성균한테 항상 시련이 있습니까?
그렇죠.
누클랜 네옥스 클랜 할 때 에이스 결정전에서 에이스 결정전 마지막 경기에서 만난 그 상대 이영호. 그리고 또 만났던 상대가 이영호. 그리고 이제는 김성현입니다. 하지만 그 앞선 2번의 결과는
Alright, I am back from
이영호를
my small water drink.
잡아내면서 뭔가를 해줬습니다. 하지만 지금
So we are going to be going into the fifth game? Yeah, 5th. It's going to be on Gladiator. That is a nice classic map. Super weird one. But definitely going to be fun to play around with this map. Looking forward to that. It kind of reminds me in some ways of man, what is the map with the spokes that go around? I can't remember. Not coming to mind right now. We are going to be jumping into set 5, Team Bisu versus Team Last. Alright, we should be jumping into the game. There it is, set 5. And it looks like Looks like Team Bisu has sent out their last remaining player, Mind. What a surprise! In the bottom right-hand corner, in the yellow, that is going to be the player who is Mind. Yeah, that's gonna be Mind. And in the bottom left, in the red, that's gonna be last. I was waiting for the names to show up on the screen so I could figure out who was who. Alrighty, so gonna be. Wait, no, did I have that backwards? Wait, they just changed the colors. Never mind. Never mind. They keep changing the colors, guys. They keep changing the colors. You guys can help me out. Let me know. In the meantime, I'm just gonna talk about the yellow Terran and the red Terran. So, TBT, interesting matchup. Definitely a lot of last to 7 o'clock. Thank you very much, Zen Garden. I appreciate it. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, because I can read their Korean names. I just don't know what their names are. So that's my problem. It said Mind is yellow. Okay, you guys are gonna force me to actually look up their Korean names. Is that what's going on right now? Alright, Kim Sung. Okay, so last is gonna be in the red, Mind is gonna be in the yellow. Thanks for your help, guys. Alrighty. So both of them opening up with the early gas, not a surprise. You very, very, very rarely see gasless openings in TBT, if ever, just because gas units are so strong in this matchup. There's a lot of different things that you can do in terms of harassment. You can go for vulture drops, you can go for early tank pressures, things like that. A lot of what we're going to see depends heavily on how many Marines come out. Usually if you see more than 1 or 2 Marines, it's definitely going to be some sort of a push play. But even then, it's very rare that you'll even get to that point, just because Marines are so useless versus vultures and tanks. And first factories are going to be coming out from both players right now. They're going to be going for the early factories. Usually the big difference that we see in this matchup is who decides to go for the second factory and who decides to go for a one-fact expand. That's usually the biggest difference we see in the early game, the biggest divergence point. So we'll have to see if we decide to go for more or less. Both players pulling off a couple of SCVs from gas. Looks like last actually pulled off 2 and Mind only pulled off 1. So that to me says that Mind is going to definitely be going for that second fact, while last is going to be going for a more economic play with that expansion. Then again, I could be totally wrong, because he isn't spending gas on anything right now. It's a little bit unusual. Maybe he's going to proxy a starport. Yeah, it looks like that is actually what it's going to be. Middle of the map, just above last natural, there is a proxy going down right now. I'm not sure if that's a starport or another factory. Most likely it's a starport to go for vulture drops, so looking forward to see this. Imagine if a caster were colorblind. That's Bisu Dagger. Bisu Dagger is colorblind. He can't see anything. It's unfortunate. And this immediately gets scouted. The proxy factory, it is dead. But Mind is still going to try to pressure with these first couple Marines. Unfortunately, there's a bunker down already, and the vulture is blocked from actually getting into the main scout. So this is really unfortunate opening for Mind so far. His proxy gets immediately scouted, his pressure gets thwarted, and Les is in a really, really, really good spot right now. There's very little that Mind can do right now. He's going to try to run past this bunker, which is a little unusual, but once that vulture goes down, there's nothing left to that pressure, because one vulture can just kill like almost infinity Marines. It's insane. This is a cute little block with the barracks just kind of blocking in units, but it's not going to be anything substantially holding Mind back. I mean, Mind is already just far behind because of his opening, and At this point, you really have to just hope for a Hail Mary as mine. Again, Last just takes a perfect lead early on. He's taken such an early lead that there's almost nothing that mine can do to get back into this game. He's gonna have to play perfectly for the rest of the game if he actually wants to get in there and you know, get this reversal kill. But I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. Lots of SCVs for Last going down right now, and the CC's only just started in the natural for Mind right now. It's pretty brutal. He is gonna try to go for this Wraith play, which is a pretty nice small thing that he can do, but the armory is already up, and the first couple of Goliaths are gonna be coming out. They're easily gonna be able to deter any sort of Wraith harass, and it's looking bad for Mind. I honestly, at this point, I guess the only real option is just turtling super hard with lots of tanks and hoping that your opponent doesn't expand a lot. I think honestly that's the only way you can actually possibly get back into this game as Mind. Last has complete control of the game. He has all of the units that he needs, and if Mind doesn't just play super turtly, he can actually just die to future attack by Last. The Academy coming in right now because Last hasn't seen anything in a little while. He just lost his barracks. So he's not really sure what's going on, so he needs to get those comsat stations out. Meanwhile, more factories coming down, going up to 4 factories, and he can afford to do this because he has a ton of production, ton of SCVs out right now. Even though there's 2 SCVs in the natural have been sitting AFK for like the last 3 minutes, which is pretty painful to watch. Mind is playing for a disconnect at this point. Yes, that is that's a good way of putting it. There's almost no hope in this game, unless Last just completely screws up somehow or just goes AFK. Oh gosh. But Mind is just going to try to turtle up as much as possible. He's starting to get a decent number of SCVs out in his natural, but the second factory is only just now up and operational. Meanwhile, there's 4 factories pumping non-stop stuff, getting all of the upgrades for the Vultures, probably getting +1 as well. So Last is in a pretty good spot for right now. He might even go for the fast third to follow this up. I like that Last is deciding to play a little bit more safely. He's not going super crazy with his economy. He knows that, you know, there is still the possibility that maybe Mind YOLO attacks across the map if he takes really early 3rd command center or 4th command center. And he's just going to be taking it slow, not going too crazy. I love sending this 1 Goliath over here. He knows the Wraith is out, so he sends the 1 Goliath so that the Wraith can't pick off the SCV. Just smart play by Last. He's been on top of his game today and just playing really intelligently. Moving up right now. Kind of a weird pathway instead of going straight into his opponent's base, but looks like he's trying to get onto the top end of this this tank line, and he's actually going to be able to do a pretty good job of getting in here with the mines, but not going to happen. No mine hits coming out right now, and luckily Mine does have the high ground over here. It's going to be hard to break into that without more vultures. But so far, Last has a pretty decisive mid-map presence, and lots of factories coming out for Mine right now, so he's going to be able to actually match the production of Last coming up pretty soon, but he has to be really smart about how he plays out the next couple of minutes. He can't lose a lot of tanks, and this is one of the surefire ways to do it, is to try to fight in a bad spot right now. He's going to lose all the tanks that were on this high ground. He's lost control of this high ground area, and it's not good. You really can't afford to lose that many tanks. You can't afford to do any trading at all, really, unless you just straight up win the trades. And there goes all the tanks again. Tank count reset. Mind has 0 tanks. He's relying entirely on this 1 Wraith, but 2 Goliaths easily going to be able to push that back. And there's the GG. No surprise there. Team Last wins the team battle today, 4-1. Man, that was brutal. That was so brutal. It's so surprising. So, even though Team Last has a lot of solid players on it, Last, Larva, Shuttle, Mini, at the same time, like, you have to look at Team Bisu. Like, Team Bisu has Bisu, Jaedong, Mine, Gameo. Like, all of those players are honestly, like, top tier players. They're all really, really good. The only one that might be questionable is Gameo. But even then, Gameo has shown in the past that he's pretty strong given the right circumstances. So it's like, honestly, I would say the Team Bisu is the strongest team on paper. But as we saw just now, Team Last, Mini taking it to them in the early parts and Last just easily cleaning up. Even then, they still have Larva and Shuttle, both very good snipers. Shuttle is very good at PvT, could definitely snipe some Terrans if necessary. And Larva is another Terran sniper as well. So, I don't know. It's, on paper, I would have voted for Team Bisu before this, but Team Last just pulling it through. I think the biggest surprise of the team battle today was just Mini going like god tier early on, killing off Bisu with a well-timed timing attack, and then same thing with Gameo, just very well-timed attacks. Looks like they're doing an interview with the winners. Unfortunately, I don't speak Korean, so I can't translate for you guys. But man, it's a bit of a surprising result, but at the same time, just really well played by Team Last. I'm still sad that we don't get to see Uzi Sara yet. I really want to see Uzi Sara. I'm gonna be sad if we don't get to see it the entire tournament. But it looks like next next match is going to be Team Mong versus Team Best. That's going to be tomorrow. Looks like a little bit of a later time according to KHJ. It's going to be at 2100 KST, which is, that's going to be 9 o'clock here. Oh, 9 o'clock on East Coast USA, so I'm looking forward to sleeping in. That's going to be nice. So, looking forward to that as well. Team Mong, that's got Mong, Effort, Snow, Sky High. That's a pretty solid team. And Team Best, which is Best, Jongbi, back from Army, Jongbi, Rain, and Hyuk. Also a pretty good team as well. But is that the one that's all Protoss? I can't remember. I don't know if I've ever seen Hyuk play. I feel like Hyuk is a Zerg player, but I could be wrong. Anyhow, it's going to be really good. Looking forward to that. That's pretty much going to end the stream for tonight. Oh, hello. Hi, people in the background. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow. Just remember that's 2100 KST. You can always check the thread on teamloco.net for more information. And I'll see you guys then. So, later.
그리고 그 첫 경기가 팀장들의 대결 도제욱 대 몽군입니다. 내일도 7시에 많이 와주시고요. 오늘 10,000명 넘어간 거 다시 한번 감사드리겠습니다. 너무너무 감사드리고 스타 사랑해주시는 아프리카 시청 여러분들 그리고 스타 커뮤니티 팬분들 너무너무 감사드리고 저희는 내일 이 시간에 다시 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 또 성인군자 성현님 100개